session, we saw cloning cloning default VPC and custom VPC. Can you show both the links, Krishna?
Custom VPC.
The links of GitLab that you can see as a red color in your browser.
This one.
GitLab, yeah, correct. Those two, yeah. One is a custom VPC, another one is a default VPC. So both the repositories we cloned from Git bash. From there, we executed /deploy.sh. Yeah, now you can go back to your Git bash. So we cloned both the repositories and we created instances from simple EC2. Can you just do a delete of all this and then do a PWD? Delete everything. Yeah, do a PWD.
PWD.
Yeah. So we are actually inside default VPC and simple EC2. We executed /deploy.sh. As a result, the instance is created and public IP is already there.
Yeah.
Can you just scroll up, go little up, scroll the screen little bit up. Is it possible you can go up or no?
Not possible, but I think it's at the top.
Oh, is it? Okay. Do ls. Okay. Do ssh-i my-key.pem my-key.pem ec2-user @ since your screen is not showing the IP address, you need to go to the EC2 console and copy the IP address. Right, that's correct. Simple EC2, copy the IP address. Yeah, right click, paste, enter. You will be able to log into the instance. Maybe this prompt you can avoid. For that also, I'll tell you the way to do it. Enter. Yes. So if you probably use Terraform to create a EC2 instance, it's going to be really quick, and all the resources can be configured, can be added into the main.tf file. Now, as you already know, how to log into the EC2 instance and how to view the public key wherever the location. Now you can do a Control D shortcut to come out of this. Control D to come out of this, and do a ls once again. Now here, say to answer your question, if there are multiple Terraform scripts, which script it will execute first and how it will understand which script to execute first, or what are the scripts it needs to execute, right?
Wait, Shankar. This is not that
Correct. I
directory
mean,
where.
correct. That is absolutely right. But if there are multiple Terraform scripts,
Mhm.
what it will do is it will read all the .tf files. So
Mhm.
Terraform understands it has to read all the Terraform.tf extension. So you can just
Mhm.
highlight main.tf. So it will read all the .tf files and try to calculate on its own. It will have one algorithm to create a connection between different uh, resources that it is going to create. And it will create a map out of it. And then it will go and create the resources required, one after the other. There will be always a dependency graph created by Terraform so that it understands which resource need to be created first and which resource need to be created second. I mean, which resource is dependent on the other one.
Yes.
So uh, that's called DAG. You can type DAG. Yeah, that's a dependency acrylic graph or something. Acyclic graph. Dependency acyclic graph. So through which it will identify what resource, for example, a VPC must be created before creating an EC2 instance, where EC2 instance is referring to a subnet, which is created by the VPC. So this DAG will make sure what resources need to be created first is created first, and then later the other resources are created. Okay, you can do a control A and hash and enter. So basically control A to go to the first character of the line. Control E will take you to the last character of the line. Okay. Now do a cat deploy.sh. Cat space deploy.sh. So here we have put all the Terraform stages. That is nothing but Terraform workflow here, which will take care of initializing the repository, initializing the folder directory, and then do a Terraform validate, then do a Terraform plan, and then Terraform apply with auto approve. That means it will not prompt for any input from you, but it will automatically go ahead and then create the resources for you.
Okay.
Okay. Can you do a cat run underscore destroy.sh? Run RU tab. Yeah, enter. This basically contains only the destroy command, and it is also again auto approve.
Yeah.
Okay. Do a ls-al, ls-al or ls-l. Both are okay. So what are the different files or folders do you see here? There is a folder called .terraform. That is nothing but a directory, a hidden directory, which is used for Terraform execution, especially all the connection, plugins, parameters, everything will be there inside. There is another file called terraform.log.hcl. Do you have any idea what it is?
Uh, so-
See, at the same time, if two people are trying to execute the same script,
Mhm.
it will create a lock and it will allow or it will not allow the second person to run. So it will allow only one person to run at any point in time. That is why the log file is required. That gets created when you run Terraform init or Terraform plan, whatever commands that you run. For that particular command, it will create a log.hcl file. So that will
Okay.
avoid anybody to duplicate the work or anybody to override the work.
Okay. Shankar, but we are creating the resource in from our local system, right? So,
Right.
so let's say if I am creating a resource and you are creating the resource, so how would someone know that we are creating the same resource? If we are creating the same resource, then this log file is justified, right? But since we are doing in our own local system, then how can we know that?
Okay. Say, even if you run by mistake twice, or if you probably it's a shared system, then there is a way, there is a methodology to avoid people doing a duplicate or doing a override. That is a general strategy that is there by default because most of the times we end up running this in a shared machine. Um, in our company environment, we'll have some execution being done on the CI/CD pipeline. In that case, if one is executing the pipeline, the other person should not go on override something on the existing execution. So that's why there'll be a lock file created.
Uh, Sorry, Shankar, I didn't get this properly. Could you explain in a simpler way?
Okay, sure. See, um, log file is mostly relevant for a local machine.
Okay.
Because most of the times, maybe by mistake, you will run it, or maybe somebody else will also log into your system and run it. For example, if it is a Windows machine, there is no there is not much possibility for people to just interfere your work. But if it is a Linux machine, there is a possibility that multiple people will log in and do some work parallelly. So to avoid that, the log file is created. So it is very simple concept. You don't have to really break your head for this particular stuff, but it's a general locking mechanism. Uh, Anything you do, you can simply search in the internet for what is a locking mechanism for simple file system or simple software uh, execution. Okay, sure. Can you do a ls space dot terraform to see what is there inside? Ls space dot terraform, enter. So you will see the provider. That is nothing but the AWS provider that we mentioned in the main.tf. Can you do a cat main.tf? Or you can say more. Okay, that's okay. You have to scroll up. Okay, the first thing that we mentioned is provider AWS and region is US East one. We also need to mention which region you want to create the resources. Otherwise, it is very difficult for Terraform to find out where exactly it has to create. So if you miss region, it will definitely ask you to put the region over there so that your resources will be created in the particular region.
Okay.
And rest everything is like collecting some data, existing data, or creating resources for you. That will have another session, but we'll just see things at the high level today. So
Uh,
use Apparel.
One question. So what is this um, folder and providers? What is
Yeah,
in
that's
there?
what I mean. We're going to see that one second. Use up arrow twice. Yeah, enter it once again and use up arrow and then put tab so that you see what is there inside the provider. Up arrow once again. No, no, no. Up arrow. Yeah, tab. Yeah, tab once again. Keep pressing tab. Up arrow. Yeah, tab. So registry.terraform.io. That is basically going to the Terraform registry and finding out all the required uh, plugins or softwares required for you to make a connection to the AWS console or AWS cloud or any other cloud that you're using as a provider. Tab once again. HashiCorp is the company name of Terraform. HashiCorp is a company which is uh, working on Terraform or which is developing Terraform. Okay, tab once again. Can you press a tab once again?
It's
Yeah.
just
So
showing
you
the AWS
yeah.
controllers.
There are three different modules or plugins. One is AWS, another one is TLS, the third one is local. Local is a one which is a local plugin. AWS is a AWS plugin which will connect to the AWS cloud. TLS is for transport layer security, which allows you to use secure way to connect to the cloud. You can go with AWS for now and see. Just type AWS and then tab. It will show you the plugin name or plugin version,
Again,
whatever.
tab.
AWS and enter. AWS and tab and enter. So it says 6.14.1 is the version number of the plugin that gets installed on your laptop. Use up
Okay.
arrow. Again tab, enter. You will probably see, okay, Windows 386, yours is a 386. Okay. use up arrow and then tab once again. Enter. Probably you will see .exe file. Yeah. So you see the exe file. That is the main file for you to make a connection to the AWS cloud. Without this, it won't be able to connect to the AWS cloud.
Okay.
So, okay, do a ls-al once again. ls-al.
So,
One
Shankar,
more you
all these we have to um, create a directory, or we have to focus only on writing the main.tf and the cloud.sh script file.
you just need to focus only on writing the main.tf and
Okay.
sometimes the shell script as per the requirement. See, shell script, whatever I have written, based on my experience, I know I can automate a little bit better. That's why I wrote deploy.sh. Otherwise, what I would normally do, I will run Terraform init and then I'll run Terraform validate. Every time when I make a change, I will do all these things one by one. I'll be losing a lot of time
Yeah, yeah.
waiting for Terraform init to complete and then run Terraform validate and then wait for the validate to complete and then I go with the Terraform plan, check what is the status. Then I have to go to Terraform apply. That's going to be absolutely lot of time waste, and I'm not going to be definitely efficient. DevOps is all about being efficient in your work and trying to do very little things and very less time.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Very little things in order to achieve a big stuff. Okay. So there is a terraform.tf state file. Any idea what is that terraform.tf state?
No problem.
That file is a database file which contains information about your current resources in your AWS cloud or whatever resources that you created in your cloud provider. Do a VI of Terraform TF state or more. More is not available in Windows. Okay, VI space Terraform. Yeah, TF state. Correct. Enter. You will see the list of items that are already created. AWS subnet that is using the data block. Like that, if you go down, it is a database of all the information about your current resources, whatever you created through Terraform. You just go little up, you will probably see some information about uh, your public key and your IP address of the EC2 instance. See, name of this EC2 instance, my simple EC2, security group attached, VPC ID. So you can see the public IP 18209, little down. I think one or two cursor down. Yeah, now you see 18.209.6220, right? Public IP. Exactly where your cursor is there, right? On the right side. If you press right arrow, it will come. You can highlight the public
Got it.
IP also. Yeah. So basically, it has all the information about your current resources. So to put it simple, uh, it's a current state of the infrastructure that is created using Terraform. So it'll be one of the interview questions. What is Terraform TF state file? Terraform's TF state file contains or it is the current state of the infrastructure resources.
Yes. So can't we just say that it records all the resource that we have created in a document?
Exactly, correct. That will be uh, uh, used as a reference in order for you to apply any other resources or modify any other resources or delete any resources. So that will be the reference for your future updates. Anything that you do using Terraform, this will be referred.
Okay, so Shankar,
Oh,
if we
yeah,
update or modify or delete any resource, so it will reflect here as well, will it?
exactly. That's what.
Okay. Okay.
You can do a colon Q exit colon Q exit. Yeah, do ls once again. So now you could also see the file size is 22,846, right? Terraform TF state file. It is really big enough. Okay, you
This one
can just do a dot.
on the
You can just do a
package.
dot slash run destroy.sh dot slash r and tab. This will remove the resources from your AWS without
Uh,
prompting you anything.
Shankar, I have
Yes,
a question here. Like,
yes,
since we are creating G2 instance and it will uh, uh, download the PEM file and it will keep in the downloads folder, right, in a local machine. But
right.
you have created EC2 instance through Terraform. So where will the if it is if it is launching for the first time, so where will the PEM file will get it download? Where in your local system or in the AWS console?
Okay,
I
that's
didn't
a good
get that
question.
properly.
That's a good question. Good follow-up, and you are able to understand the flow very correctly. Go to your GitLab. You can do a run destroy.sh for now. Let it happen in the background. We don't need to really see this for now. Yeah, just go to Git Bash, sorry, GitLab. Go to the, yeah, go to that. It's a custom VPC, right? Go to default VPC. Okay. Go to main.tf. Sorry, simple EC2 and then main.tf. Simple EC2. Okay. Go to main.tf. You can probably zoom a little so that you understand where exactly you're looking at. That's fine. Okay. On line number 18, what is that? You're creating a resource that is TLS underscore private key,
Okay.
which is something similar to running a SSHI keygen command. The line number 18, 19, 20 is similar to a command which you're running on the command line, which is equivalent to SSH keygen -t RSA.
Okay.
So what it does is it creates a public key and private key, but you need to do couple of more things so that private key can be downloaded locally and public key can be uploaded to the AWS. So if you see line number 23, 24, 25, that is downloading the private key to the local. That is using the local plugin that you saw in the Git bash, right? I mean, in the .terraform folder, you see local uh, TLS and AWS, right? Three different plugins are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember? If you want to go back to Git bash, see also, it is okay. So those three plugins are connected to this one. For the creating the local file, it is a local plugin. Uh, for the TLS, whatever you see public key, right? For
Yeah.
that, it is using the TLS. Wherever there is a TLS underscore private key something, right? That means it is using the TLS module, TLS plugin. Okay,
Shankar, please
line number
explain
20.
this whole block as well, please.
Yeah, line number 23, 24, 25 is to download the private key onto your local machine onto the current
Yeah.
folder by calling TLS underscore private key on line number 25. If you look at it, TLS underscore private key dot SSH underscore key dot private key underscore PEM. That is exactly if you go little up, just one scroll little bit up, Yeah, fine, fine. Yeah. So if you see line number 18, right?
Yeah.
That is TLS underscore private key, and the name of the key will be SSH underscore key. The same thing we are referring it here on line number 25 as by calling the object TLS underscore private key dot SSH underscore key. From there, you take out only the private key PIM. That is a module, that is a method or attribute. You can call it as method or attribute. By calling that attribute, we are storing it to the content. See, left side, you see content, right?
Yeah.
That content will be stored in this, and the file name will be my-key.pem on line number 24. That content will be added to the my-key.pem file, which is a file name. That's why if you go to git bash now, do ls.
Shankar, is this an alias?
Sorry.
AWS subnet default. Is this an alias AWS subnet and in this underscore default TLS private key and this double
Uh,
inverted? So is this an alias or something?
Not alias, just a name.
Okay.
See, basically, uh, the first one is a resource. That's a keyword from Terraform. Second one is the resource that you want to create. See, if you look at if you highlight the resource, right, on line number 18, whatever resource keyword, that is a resource keyword itself. Just highlight only resource. That is that is from Terraform. The second one is um, what resource that you are going to create. Third one is the name of the resource. Like that it goes. First is whether it is a Terraform resource block or data block or output block. Then the second one is what is the associated module that you're calling, whether it is a AWS key pair, security group, or TLS private key. And then third one is the name of the particular object. Okay, it may take a little while for you to understand everything. Um, just go ahead and then look at line number 28 for now. Line number
Yeah.
28. So we are creating a resource, AWS key pair, right?
Yeah.
When we say AWS underscore something, that means it is a resource that is getting created in AWS.
Yeah.
In AWS, if we go to console, you will see a key called my-key. You can put AWS underscore key also. There's no problem with respect to mentioning the key name as a different one. But in order to match, I just used a key name my-key. If you go to AWS console, you will see my-key in your key section. But that would have been removed by now because you executed dot
Destroy
slash
what
run
destroy.
destroy.sh. That would have been removed.
Hello, Shankar, are you there?
Okay. So we talked about how AWS Terraform handles creating a private key and creating a copying the public key to AWS console. See, line number 18 to 20, it is about creating a private key on the local machine. You can just highlight 18 to 20. That is to create your private key on the local machine from wherever you're running Terraform. So basically, that's running the command. Copying the private key is line number 23 to 25. And line number 28 to 30 is to create that key or put that public key on the AWS interface, because when you create a EC2 instance, it is supposed to have this public key content copied to the authorized keys file in the home directory, so that your authentication is validated and successful. Okay. From line number 34, we are creating a security group. It is nothing but uh, creating a security group from AWS console and allowing ingress or the incoming traffic or inbound rule. That is what ingress. So we are saying that port number 22 is allowed for all the IP addresses anywhere. So if you go to AWS console, you will choose anywhere. You will put 000/0. Similarly, egress will be your outgoing traffic, that is outbound rule. If you scroll a little further down, you will see resource AWS_instance my EC2.
Yeah.
This will exactly look like your instance creation, where you choose AMI ID, then choose instance type and choose a subnet. That data block that is there in the top, you can go all the way top now. You can go all the way top and scroll little down. Yeah. So on line number 12, what we are trying to do is we are trying to, on line number 7 to 14, we are saying use the default VPC, which is already available in the AWS account. That is why we say on line number 8, we say default equals true. That means we are referring to the default VPC, which is already exist in our AWS account. The region would be US East 1, and the subnet would be US East 1A. I mean, the availability zone, whatever is availability zone US East 1A, that subnet will be taken for creating the EC2 instance. That's what we are referring. Say if you highlight line number 12, right? Data.aws_subnet.default. .id will be your subnet ID. So if you go all the way down, there'll be a data.aws_subnet.default.id. So you can see that, right? What is
Yeah.
your subnet ID? Data.aws_subnet.default.id. This is called as object calling, or calling anything using the object ID or object reference. So that is something which is used in programming all the way, like be it Python or Java, any programming language, they'll be using some object reference to call the attribute or method. Here, we are just calling the attribute, that is .id in the end, that fetches the subnet ID. I mean, in the end means line number 58. Line number 58, you see .id, right? Yeah. So finally, we are saying .id, that is fetching the ID of